Yeah.
Got there just in time.
Yeah, and it was really exciting to turn 28. I enjoyed that.
He's funny.
But anyway, so we're back and we're excited to get started here. Let's see. I want to make sure. So wanted to say hi to all of our new members here in the group. Yeah, of course. Yes. Wanted to do that, and then actually, good news. I always like to start with good news. What do you have in the way of good news for the week here?
Good news for the week. We had a week off, so I mean, that's great news. No, but realistically, it was nice. I mean, we use our voices 7 hours a day sometimes, and the fact that we had a week off, I mean, man, I'm coming back and I'm feeling good.
Yeah, like I know. So, yeah, same thing. I probably 6, 7, 8 days into that, I came in and picked up my guitar and started playing with some music, and it was like out of nowhere. I'm like, boom, that feels so good. It's like I never get vocal rest because we're always working with our clients and things like that, and it's taxing.
It is.
You'd be surprised.
And a lot of times we're demonstrating the wrong way too. Both. So it's like, as healthy as we hopefully are, we certainly teach the healthiest way possible, but I mean, you still have to kind of
it's like being a personal trainer. I mean, you're not going to do every rep with your client because your muscles fatigue. You get tired. There's only really so much you should be doing that type of action. So we definitely do more than we should. But so a break was nice. Anyway, we're getting off on a long tangent. Did you want to say something?
Oh,
you seem very excited.
No, I thought about another good news, but it's all good.
Oh, well, what else?
Well, okay,
all the good news.
Yeah, no. One of my friends, I suppose, is cancer-free for 10 years as of Saturday. And so she's doing this big 10-hour fundraiser, hoping to raise $10,000 for breast cancer research on Saturday. And so far has 100 people involved. So it's 100 singers over 10 hours to raise $10,000.
That sounds like a lot of work to put together.
It was, yeah. We did our dress rehearsal last night and just kind of checked audio levels because everybody's on a different computer doing this virtually. So it's a heck of a project, but it's really exciting.
Yeah.
Cool cause.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I'm in birthday break, all that stuff. Another cool thing that happened relatively recently.
Well, we're both having a good time.
I know, right? Well, you take a week off, you just don't talk.
Yeah, you forget how to speak.
Yeah, the words I know do good. But yeah, actually, I started playing with more songwriting, which I haven't done in a while, which has been really, really awesome, a lot of fun. So it's cool because, like I said, I haven't taken the time to really spend on that much lately, but it's been a lot of fun, man. I can't express to you like how almost jealous I am of like my clients now. It's like, oh yeah, that's what it's like to do your own thing and to kind of just fall into it. Music is awesome. But anyway, okay, I'm getting off on a tangent. But all that said, we missed you guys. Yeah. We missed you guys. We're looking forward to getting back. I also slacked like hardcore in the way of actually posting and asking for questions. So we don't have that many today. If you have any and you're watching live, share them because we will have a little bit of extra time. Yeah. So all of that said, I also have fancy stuff that I'm going to try to do. So all of that said, yes, very fancy. I am going to, wait for it. The question for now is, boom. Oh, well, that was weird spacing, but that's okay. How do I identify my voice type and voice range?
Got it. Voice type, I mean, it depends on the type of music you're singing. If you're singing classical, if you're singing choir, you're going to need to know your voice type, and they're very specific about that. Musical theater is it's becoming quite fluid, honestly. You kind of have to sing everything. But if you're going into pop rock and everything like that.
Yes. Voice type, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, like, as far as saying, am I a soprano or an alto or anything like that, chances are when you look at your range and things like that, which we'll get to, but chances are when you look at that, you're going to realize you can sing everything pretty much, within reason. So what kind of is comfortable for you is really the answer there. Like, what do you feel most comfortable singing? Do you feel comfortable doing the low stuff, the high stuff? It's kind of up to you. As far as range, it's kind of hard to do without a piano, but if you have a piano, quite literally following some scales, even if it's just a da 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 and keep going higher and higher and higher, that's the best way to kind of figure out your range. You might need to know, I mean, I don't know if you need to know
higher and lower, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, higher and lower, yeah, but I don't know if you need to know like the actual notes, like if you if you are doing classical or musical theater, they might need to know if you can hit a C5 or a C6 or something like that.
Well, musical theater might be looking for like legit versus
belt. Yeah. So it really does depend a lot on the genre that you're working in. But if you don't read music, if you don't play piano or anything like that, probably can find a lot of things online. I know there's a piano app where you can just kind of plunk the notes on your piano and see how high you go or how low you go. And usually they have those notes labeled too. So that could be an easy option to find that range too.
Sure. Well, and I go back to when it comes to all of that, you want to know what's comfortable for you. Right. And then also because I remember when I was in high school, I sang tenor 1 for like 2 years, and then I also
sang tenor 1 in high school.
But like my sophomore year, I auditioned for a solo or whatever, and like everyone, like he heard, the guy heard my voice, like my deeper range, and he's like, oh, and then all of a sudden I started being put on baritone, like bass 1 or bass occasionally, and that's it's. Not everybody has that type of range, but what it boils down to is where are you comfortable in? I was definitely way more comfortable in baritone range at that point in time than I was in tenor range, and really still am. So, but some people, and I have clients that they live up in that upper part of their range. It's easier for them than not. So pick what's comfortable for you. Know what you're going to need to do if you're going to be like auditioning for a choir, if you're going to be auditioning for a show. Not just what you can do, but what you want to do and have to be relied upon for extended periods of time. Because sometimes those rehearsals and runs can be kind of longer than what you expect. So just because something is obtainable doesn't mean that it's sustainable. And that's something that I really encourage you to take into consideration when you go in and say, oh yeah, I can screech out a high F sharp belting. Okay, but can you do it with any type of consistency? And can you do it, knowing that it'll be there over and over? So just small things to keep in mind range wise. And then, same thing. I just say, get a piano app, figure out where you comfortably and are predictably able to sing that range. And that's what how I would use that.
Predictably is a good point there. Maybe someday you can hit a high C, but that's once a month.
Right.
Don't say that's it. If you can't prove it, usually in an audition, if you're going somewhere, if you can't prove it, don't put it on your resume. Don't put it as your range. But
no, agreed.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, fancy stuff. Hold on. Okay. Question number 2. Okay, what do we have? I have a friend who wants to join us. How can I bring them in? Okay, so that was that's a great question though. Just invite them.
Yeah.
Like we'd love to have more and more people interacting and
we're not exclusive.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it might be a little.
Okay. A little exclusive. But
Yeah. No haters.
No.
No haters.
That's fair. We have had one hater. That is it. Out of the 700 people in this group. So great job, everybody. You're all really nice.
Yeah. We basically kick out not cool people. But other than that, we're good. Yeah. So, but yeah, please invite them. We'd love to have more and more people here. And if you know that somebody can benefit from this group, ask them to join, invite them, give them the link. GrowingSingers.com is the easiest way. Just tell them that.
It'll
forward to the Facebook group page. Cool. So moving on, how does one overcome stage fright?
This is always the question.
Oh, isn't it though?
This is a big question. So obviously, first thing, try to get as much experience as possible.
Can I start?
Of course.
Can I do this one? Okay.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, there was this awesome little YouTube clip of Shia LaBeouf. And he just kept going, do it! Just do it!
Gosh.
Okay, so that's my number one piece of advice. Okay, I'm not going to scream like he did, but do it. You've got to get out and you've got to perform. That's one of the number one things that I think we really need. Most people need in order to get over that stage fright thing. Obviously, there are tricks that you can use mentally and everything else, but what it boils down to is you can only be confident in something that you do fairly regularly. And there's no difference. There is literally no difference between you singing in your shower versus singing on a stage other than what you tell yourself. And I think with enough repetition, you have the realization of, you know what? It doesn't matter how often I perform. I might mess up here and there, but it's okay. I just need to go out there and have fun, and everyone else will enjoy it too. And so that's my main and very simple solution. Go back to Shia LaBeouf and do it. All right.
I now see why he was so adamant about answering.
No, it's like I got this one.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, nothing else needed. Nothing else needed. We're done. No, I'm kidding. Please.
So coming from a psychological point of view.
Oh Lord.
No, okay. So our bodies
Don't psychoanalyze me.
I do. But anyway, our bodies love safety, and so in general, it's going to make sound. Oh, look at that! There are people. Hi, Jane. Oh, hi. Okay. But anyway, from a psychological point of view, getting back to the topic.
My old piano sadly. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Sorry. We just got distracted because I moved the.
He actually looked at the comments that we had on our live stream, and we didn't realize we had comments. So anyway,
there we go.
Back to how does one overcome stage fright? So yes, our bodies love safety, and so the reason you have stage fright is because your body thinks it's a threat. Like think about our fight or flight reaction, right? It's an innate part of us, and that's actually the part of our brain that gets triggered when we go on stage and have stage fright. That part of our brain fires up. Scientists have done studies on this. So it's really one of those moments where you have to trick your brain into thinking, I'm not in danger. And I know it's terrifying. You're really not in physical danger, but to you, unless something ungodly were to happen, but I mean, you're really not in physical danger, but your body goes into that mode. So deep breathing is, everyone tells you take a deep breath, and you're probably sick of hearing that, but it is legitimately a great way, because if you think about it, stage fright, it's automatic. So is our breathing a lot of times. So if you can send that signal of taking a nice deep breath and interrupt that automatic breathing, it sends signals back into your brain saying, hey, wait a minute, I've got control over this. I don't need to take over. She just controlled the breath. Now she is able, let's control the stage frights part of things too. So it just sends signals to your brain to just kind of calm down. But yeah, deep breath, probably the biggest thing from the belly. Shoulders will not help you. But yeah, from the belly. And then think about, I always love this one, think about 3 words that really inspire you to sing. I want to be confident. I want to be exciting. I want to be enthralling is the word that came to mind.
Enthralling, yes. That's what I'm usually thinking when I'm on stage. I want to be enthralling.
Hey, I think that's a great word to be thinking about. But anyway, your brain can't process negatives. So if you have stage fright and you are scared and you're saying, don't be scared, don't be scared, don't be scared, you're going to be scared. Whereas,
hands down.
That is 100% true.
Or don't forget, I'm going to forget my words. What if I forget my words? Like you're telling yourself over and over, forget your words.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, I forgot my words. What do I do?
Yeah, you can look this up. It's 100% tried and true.
I've seen it a million times.
Like scientifically proven, brain can't process negatives. So you need something to replace it with. Replace those negative thoughts. Anytime you have I'm scared, I can't do this, blah, 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 everything's going to be awful. Replace it with your 3 words of like, no, I am enthralling and I am confident. And that will hopefully replace those words and shove them out of your consciousness.
Yeah, I think what it boils down to is focus in that context, right? More than anything, I think so many people get caught up in some of those negative loops mentally. When they're not thinking, just do it, right? Mm-hmm. But they get caught up in those negative loops. They focus on what they don't want to happen. Mm-hmm. They ask themselves really bad questions like, how could this go wrong? Or what if I crack? And what if I blah, 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 as opposed to like, I want to be enthralling. You're
not going to use that word.
Yeah. What if this is a great performance? What if this? So ask yourself really good questions if you're in that position. Yeah. I like just those 3 ideas, those 3 affirmations. kind of moving yourself in the direction of what you want to focus on happening, as opposed to the alternative. And I agree that can be helpful, but without actually doing it, you won't get better. Mm-hmm. It's not actually going to make any difference. So it's interesting practicing, and I was talking with a different client about this earlier, not specifically about this, but about performing, but different environments and different level of focuses, we'll say, not focuses. All right. So, but when you're in different places, you get different results. Right. Mm-hmm. So for example, actually I was using more of a top down, like if you think of like, I am a good singer. Okay. But if I ask you to do something you've literally never done before in your life, a lot of people, might sit back and say, oh, I couldn't sing that scale, I'm not a good singer, and they get really frustrated, they emotionally react, as opposed to just saying, hey, this is something that's new, I've got to practice this scenario. Right? So you might have to practice, getting good at that weird scale that I gave you or whatever, that seems, like it should be simple because I'm a good singer. Well, you may be a good singer, but you may not be good at performing yet. You may not be good at feeling comfortable on stage, and that's okay. But you can't get there without actually doing it, and without, finding some cheats and ways to kind of help you do that, which you've already created and given us some enthralling ways to do that. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, take that and think about that for the next few minutes.
I want you guys to comment anytime you have thought about the word enthralling.
Hashtag enthralling. Okay, that's what I want to say.
Also, Alex Lancer.
Oh.
He's on YouTube. That's why that only popped up there. But hi, Alex.
Oh, what's up, Alex? How are you? It has been a little bit.
I know.
We're excited to be back, though. Okie dokie. Okay, so let me see.
How do you see the...
I don't know. I'm not used to this. Okay.
Fancy technology.
Fancy technology. Okay, boom. Next question. Haha. How do I better convey different types of emotion in a song? Great question. Really, really great question. Because really, I would argue that singing is emotion that you can hear. Music is emotion that you can hear, and singing obviously just helps us do that. And we do that through so much more than just speaking words, right? We have pitch and all sorts of different things that we can do inflection-wise. So how do I better convey different types of emotion in a song? Well, you're the theater person, Kier. What do you think?
I think, okay.
Uh-oh. Get ready for an enthralling answer.
I'm not going to live that one down for like 3 weeks.
No, that's coming back.
So I think part of it, half of it, I would say, is actually really looking at the song. Look at the lyrics as if it's a poem, as if you were speaking this maybe even as a monologue, and notice, like, think about a word or two that pops out every line, right? If you're singing, never mind, I'll find someone like you, Adele song, you wouldn't necessarily go, never mind, I'll find someone like you. That wouldn't be the word you emphasize. It would be someone like you. And so that
I found that rather enthralling. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I'll stop.
The rule of 3 in comedy, speaking of the theater person.
I didn't do theater. So I can't help you.
Yeah. But yeah, I would look at it, really interpret those words of the song and see how it speaks to you. You don't have to sing it like Adele did, or like Britney Spears apparently is in my head too, but you don't have to sing it like they did. Look at what it means to you and how are you going to bring that emotion, that feeling that you got out of reading those words to the song. The other half of it would be phrasing, I think. Once you got that emotion down, is it a song that conveys excitement? If so, do you want a little bit more of a percussive phrasing? But they never did, ever did, ebb and flow and inhibited, limited till it broke up and it rained down. That's very percussive. That's Imagine Dragons. I'm a rapper. And, yes. But something more emotional would have more of a flow in letting air come through the consonants. You wouldn't sing, never mind, I'll find someone like you. It would be, never mind, I'll find someone like you, like down the octave apparently. Remember I sang tenor in high school? But yeah, I mean, very, very much so phrasing and how are you speaking those words and which words are you emphasizing. I think that's the two sides of it.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I mean, to me, the number one thing is feel it, right? Yeah. Get yourself in the position where you understand what you're saying. And it means something to you. And it doesn't have to be someone else's interpretation of it. But what does it mean to you specifically, right? Because I think that's like the biggest thing. Like so many people want to, like they start singing and then they go on autopilot. And then their brain is like no longer checked into what it is they're saying and what they're trying to get across to their listener. And once again, music is emotion that you can hear. So if you kind of, if you think of it not just as so there are a couple of ways you can do that. You can think of it as a general emotion, right? Generally, this song is happy. Okay. And that will actually do pretty good for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Evoke a happy space in your head, in your body, in your space, in your mind and whatnot. I mean, and take whatever idea that is. I mean, I kind of like using random words to anchor it as well. I mean, I remember one time I was working on this one song and this girl just kept getting so serious. And I just like, I don't know, I started yelling out warm fuzzies. And whenever I did, like it reminded her, oh yeah, so this is, you know, and she kind of got into a warm fuzzy. It was weird, but it worked out really well.
It does.
You know, it's crazy what can work here and there, but yeah, it's interesting because like even just taking on that general emotion will make you a much more compelling singer, and just like embodying that, and then of course you can also go deeper. And I really encourage people, I think these are the people that get the most, that kind of get closer to that it factor, is that they are evoking, in the emotion has motion, right? Emotion never stays at one place the whole time. You know, if you're in a breakup song, it might start off with, you know, oh, so, you know, you left me and I'm sad. But then this one line might be coming from a place of frustration, while the next line might be coming from a place of regret. While the next line might be coming from a place, but all of these are kind of negative emotions, but they have different shades. Yeah. Right. And the more you can kind of guide your, you know, yourself into those places, the more genuine and authentic it'll be. But I mean, you can use absolutely, there's so many different things that you can use to color that. I mean, we have tone, we have texture, we have phrasing, we have dynamics, we have, I mean, a ton of different things that you can do. Dynamics, the most overdone one, but it is important. It's but it's powerful. Yeah. But it's powerful.
See what you did there. I see what you did there. Yeah, that's also phrasing.
What word would you call that?
What?
Is there a term that you could think of?
I think it was enthralling.
Oh, me
Ken.
too. Okay, that makes me happy. Okay.
I know dynamics. Everyone says it, but I swear to you, nobody does it. I mean, you might think that you are being quiet and you're being louder and stuff like that. Most people maybe go from an 8 to a 9, and that's their dynamics. If you can sing a very emotional song, a very more sad, probably happier songs tend to be a little bit more on the middle to higher volume range, but especially those sad songs or angry songs, even if you can get that volume down, ooh, powerful. Play with that, even if, you know, and again, look at the words, see which ones stand out to you, see what makes sense. Does it make sense to be quieter here? Does it make sense to be louder here? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, agreed. And okay, so Alex, okay, so when I saw Alexander, it just over my head.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I know exactly who it was.
Well, you've seen Alexander probably written down, so my bad. Sorry about that. But yeah, DM me or something, and we'll work it out. Are you? You're on YouTube right now, so if you pop over to the Facebook group, growingsingers.com.
He may not have Facebook. He's a kid.
That's a teenager.
Okay. Alex, I'm pretty sure I have your mom's email. I can email her.
Boom.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Sweet. But yeah, I'd love to work with you again. Though.
I know. I'd love to see you.
Yeah. I was thinking about you the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine Dragons.
Oh, makes sense.
When she stared rapping.
What they never did.
Yeah. All the yabba dabbas.
Yeah. We have another.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah.
I'll pop you in.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm gonna read it.
Yeah, go ahead and read it, because I'm not going to do the fancy stuff if we don't have them before.
Oh, what are you doing now?
I'll let Alex in.
Oh, got it. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. Weird question. How do I know I'm singing? I'm going to pick this up so my head's not disappearing. How do I know how I'm singing with my natural voice? I have a tendency to copy the song singer whenever I sing. I mean, I don't have the same good voice yet, but I feel like I don't have my own singing voice. Ha ha ha. Is this okay? Yes, this is totally okay. That's a very common question. And people mimic without even realizing it. Really, I'm so amazed that you know that you do. That's a really good step in the right direction, actually. Same good voice yet, but I feel like I don't have my own singing voice. Sorry, I'm rereading because I was reading it out loud, so now I'm internalizing. song singer whenever I sing. I think one of the biggest things I would do is once you get comfortable with how that song goes, stop listening to that singer and start using a karaoke track or singing a cappella, and even record yourself and listen for it at that point and be like, do I still sound like Mariah Carey, or do I still sound like my natural self? Because you probably are a very talented singer, and you can bring more to that song than just by copying insert person here.
Sure.
Do you have any other thoughts on that? How do you kind of get to your natural sound?
Yeah, well, first I'll start with speaking. Is kind of where I like to start anyway, because I feel like, more often than not, we tend to consciously or otherwise mimic the singers that we like. And because it gives us a template and we just automatically assume that that's good, right? And that's good for them. But for you, what's natural for you and what's natural for your voice and your voice type and whatnot might be different. And so just allowing yourself to go back to speech and really focus on the way that feels and utilizing that in the sound, having a similar sound. Now, there can be a caveat here in that, there are people that have really unhealthy speaking voices.
Yeah.
I'd say it's not super, super common, but, there are some. So, I mean, if you really feel fatigued or tired after speaking for an hour or two, then you might want to reconsider this to some degree. But it's more so about starting from you and what that feels like, and maybe thinking of more so speaking on pitch than singing. The more you play with different things stylistically, you'll start to gravitate towards different ideas. You'll start to use different things stylistically more and more. Challenge yourself to do more stylistically, or to change things stylistically within a song, to come up with, 4 or 5 different new things that the original singer didn't do. Or, search other people's covers that are just dramatically different, play with that, and just see where your voice kind of ends up is another way I like using. But long story short, it's a journey. It's a journey, and it's funny because we have I think once again, we have these ideas of what's important and what we want to sound like. And then we have what is natural and super easy for us. And then 9 times out of 10, once you stop trying to meet a certain criteria, once you stop trying to sound a certain way, consciously or otherwise, you'll still probably have a fair amount of what you want without having to work so hard. And that's one of the reasons why finding your own unique sound is so important, but also why it's not just from an interpretation perspective, but from an application perspective. It just makes things easier. So long story short, it's a game of play, but always taking yourself back, and you'll probably have to do it fairly frequently for a while, to the speaking voice and speaking on pitch and feeling what that feels like, and trying to kind of continue in that path, as opposed to going back on autopilot as you sing through a song and halfway through it you sound like Britney Spears over here, or Adele, or whoever.
Not very enthralling.
No, sorry. What was the role? No, okay. Anyways,
I've only said it twice. I still get one more joke at myself.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Hey, Val, what's up?
Hey, Lisa.
Woot.
Yeah.
All right. So, what?
Oh, no, we still have the better convey different types of emotion thing on the bottom.
Oh, no, I messed it up. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I will have to fix that.
I know.
Fancy technology is too complicated.
Yeah.
Really complicated. Wait, that's the wrong one. Okay, I'm just gonna.
I don't know where.
Can we just make the banners go away?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what. There.
It's okay.
Aha.
There you go. Okay.
All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that covers that, I think. Did we have anything else we wanted to? Wait, what?
The bottom one. How to do it.
We'll sing a short part of a song. I think.
Asking for a friend.
There you go.
We've definitely sung duets together, but we have not done one on a video or live in front of anything.
No, I suppose not.
Yeah, but we will consider it.
Mayhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Mayhaps.
Yeah. When I try to do a riff or run, Tennessee Whiskey, for example, doesn't sound very connected. Riffs and runs.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, so, yeah, and I can see why too. Chris Stapleton's voice is like nuts. I love it.
So good.
So, more than anything, and I think I've mentioned this before, slow it down, right? Slow it down and make sure you have the same airflow, the same shaping, unless you're consciously looking to change it. All right, same vowel, in other words. And that you're not stair stepping. A lot of people want to treat runs like a machine gun. Right?
Yep.
So or whatever, right? So you want to slow it down and then get used to your voice moving from pitch to pitch in a very connected way that doesn't involve extra either air or musculature or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The chords themselves are what's adjusting during the pitch adjustment. Nothing else in your instrument has to adjust for that to happen. But the only way you can get used to that is to slow it down and go from note to note. And I really suggest sliding from note to note in that context, so you get really, really smeary, really, really connected, and then speed it up a little, and then speed it up a little bit more, and then speed it up a little bit more, and then get it to tempo. And once you do that, it'll be a lot easier.
I would, for the whole changing the sound and everything like that,
why didn't I do that?
Why didn't you do that? I don't know.
Right? By the way, there is a link, I think, on this on the post. If you click that and you give, like, that's our streaming service. If you give that permission to do whatever, then we can pull you up. And if you have a picture, we can do that. And if you don't, then you get the little blank.
And
picture.
if I'm bending down to read your comments, then your face is over mine. But no, Alex, I would also put your thumb under your chin and make sure your tongue's not doing the riff for you.
Oh, yeah.
Because
no,
a lot of times, then you're yodeling. So put your thumb under here, make sure your tongue's not moving like crazy, or else it's not going to sound smooth either. So.
I'm just excited you're doing something other than Imagine Dragons. That's awesome.
Yeah. Tennessee whiskey from, yeah, you're right. Alex singing Tennessee. I want to hear that. But yeah, fancy stuff again. Woohoo! Yeah, I think Lopez likes the anatomical stuff too.
Oh, see.
Yeah. I think he likes that stuff too.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah, I think that's everything.
Okay, so I guess what we can do is hold off for like another couple of minutes. If y'all have any other questions you want to ask, throw them out there. We're here.
Yeah.
We're available. Do you want to talk about anything else in the meantime? No.
They did a Muppets version of Hamilton. Who watched Hamilton? But anyway, somebody did a Muppets version of Hamilton. Some amateur. I don't know.
Amateurs.
Could have done a better Kermit, but whatever. But I thought that was clever and creative, and
I guess we have a Hamilton fan.
Yes!
You know, I have to say, I was one of those people. I won't say a doubter, but I was one of those people. I'm like, okay, there are a couple of good songs. I don't know if it's going to be that great. I kept my expectations kind of low, because a lot of times I feel like things get like overhyped. That show does not stop. It is like 100% energy the whole time. It is really good.
The show is non-stop. Gentlemen of the jury, I'm curious, bear with me.
No. It's okay. This isn't. Are you not throwing away your shot?
I'm not throwing away my shot.
Okay,
wait for it. Wait for it. As well.
Okay, so. Oh, goodness.
Ooh, that's a good question, Alex.
So, is there a difference between head voice and falsetto? It depends on who you
ask. I was going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, in the industry, a lot of people use those terms interchangeably. Thank you. Simultaneously, they use them both. They say them both at the same time. No, a lot of people use head voice and falsetto interchangeably, but also I think that, so it depends on who you talk to. In a collegiate setting, a lot of people use what I would consider to be head voice and refer to that as falsetto for a male. Okay. In a lot of, or many of the mixed singing training versions of trainings, wow, what's the word I'm looking for? Technique. Okay. Yeah, like the more formal, like well-known mixed singing like techniques. Many of them would refer to head voice as having vocal cord closure, that higher, both of them are in the higher part of your range, right? Head voice is having vocal cord closure, whereas falsetto does not. So the way that that's different is, if it's head voice, you're going to have a more solid tone. It's going to lack texture. Listen real quick. Ooh, right? Different than ha. That's not. No, don't do that. All right. But that's yelling. That would be more chest voice. But if you have more of a dropped in and clear tone, ooh, oh, even that gives you a little bit more of that dropped in head voice feel. Falsetto, on the other hand, for what I tend to think, and a lot of my colleagues, is when the vocal cords don't come fully together. Oh, I gotta come up here. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of that. No, I'm not. So I'm not. Whatever. So the vocal cords don't come fully together. They come mostly together. And you get that breathy sound, right? The other important thing to keep in mind with that, the biggest difference between those two in that context, other than the texture, is that you cannot connect a textured sound into chest voice without a break. Whereas ooh can find chest voice in a connected way. So once again, in the way that I teach it, the difference between head voice and falsetto, head voice has chord closure, it's not a textury sound, and can connect into chest voice. You can mix through that, whereas falsetto is going to be a breathier example. It lacks vocal cord closure, and you will inevitably have to break in order to get back into your chest voice in the same phrase.
That said, if someone asks you, your choir teacher, or if you go to an audition or something like that, and they say, hey, can you sing this in falsetto? They're probably asking for head voice.
Yeah.
Like it's very much, and this is very much from a vocal coach perspective and hey, I know vocal anatomy, which most music directors and choir teachers just don't. To that extent. So if they're saying, hey, sing it in falsetto, they probably want head voice.
Yeah, I mean, and that's interesting. I mean, even in like the recording industry and things like that, I hear like falsetto thrown out everywhere. And there's a part at first there used to be a part, and it's like, I want to like correct. It's like, why? It doesn't matter. It's fine.
It's kind of like the same thing, belting and mixing. It's like, you could make a belting sound while actually at the anatomical level you are mixing, but it sounds like belting, and just different kind of, I don't know where I went with that. Terminologies, interchangeably used.
Well, and yeah, it is actually unfortunate in the music industry. You've got kind of the classical group of people. You've got the more contemporary group of people, which is, there's a lot of variation within all of that. So, and then you've got, the more industry people, and everybody kind of speaks their own different languages. And then speech science too. So yeah, so it's I've already answered my question.
We've answered the question, but they're just terminologies. They're just, you kind of have to know what it means in your body and then what other people want you to do when they say it.
Right. but 9 times out of 10, actually most people don't. I mean, they're referring to if they say falsetto, they want a lighter, more dropped in sound.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it has chord closure or not, they probably, I shouldn't say don't care, but they probably don't. They might have a preference.
Yeah, they probably want closure realistically, but
depends.
Sure.
Depends. I mean, if you're doing like some R&B stuff, I mean, it can be very appropriate. Exactly.
I'm not throwing away much.
Of course you're not. I wouldn't expect anything different.
Yeah.
But anywho, cool stuff. What's up, Zach? How are you? Miss you, man. Hope you're feeling better. Hope everything's coming along well.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, cool. All right. Well, I guess we'll kind of wrap things up. But wonderful seeing everybody.
We'll actually post about it next time.
Yeah, I'll try not to be a slacker and maybe post about it ahead of time. I'll go back to one of the questions, so feel free to invite your friends, anybody that is looking to improve their voice, singers, and you think that might get some good value from this. We'd love to share it with them. So, and yeah, we're on for next week. So, next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
See you there.
Yep.
And it'll be enthralling. So be sure to come. And on that note, I'm going to go get off the call and get yelled at. So have a fun week. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, man.